Most people think artificial intelligence is just another trend, just another tool, just another shiny object that will fade away like every other hype cycle. But what almost nobody realizes is that AI is quietly creating the biggest opportunity gap of this decade. And the gap is not between the rich and the poor, or the educated and the uneducated, but between the people who use AI intentionally and the people who use it casually. Because the difference between asking AI random questions and using AI as a leverage machine is the difference between staying average and redesigning your entire trajectory in less than a year. And to understand this, you have to imagine someone completely normal, not a genius, not a millionaire, not an influencer, just a regular 1-year-old student named Alex who felt stuck, not failing but not winning either, waking up every day feeling slightly behind, slightly overwhelmed, slightly replaceable, scrolling through social media, watching other people build businesses, launch channels, master skills, and thinking, maybe I'm just not built for that? Until one night, he stumbled across a simple idea that changed everything. Instead of asking, what is AI? He asked, how can AI multiply me? And that shift in wording triggered a chain reaction that most people will never experience because they never cross that mental line. During the first week, Alex didn't try to build a startup or automate the world. He simply used AI to upgrade how he thought, asking it to break down complex topics like a world-class professor, to critique his essays like a harsh editor, to simulate debates so he could strengthen his arguments, to compress 100 pages of reading into structured mental models. And within days, he noticed something subtle but powerful. He was thinking clearer, responding faster, organizing ideas better, and finishing tasks in half the time. And that's when he realized AI wasn't replacing his brain, it was sharpening it. And once that realization clicked, curiosity turned into obsession. In week 2, he decided to test something more ambitious. He asked AI, if I had 0 connections, average skills, and only a laptop, how would you design a path to financial leverage in 90 days? And instead of generic advice, he pushed deeper, asking for niche analysis, skill stacking strategies, asymmetric opportunities, and low competition content gaps. And what he discovered was not a magic shortcut, but a blueprint. Attention plus systems equals income. So he chose one vehicle short-form content, and instead of copying trends, he asked AI to analyze viral structures, psychological hooks, pacing strategies, curiosity loops, and thumbnail triggers. Then he applied those frameworks to a micro niche, producing videos that were not random but engineered for retention, and the first few uploads barely moved, which almost made him quit. But instead of assuming failure, he asked AI to diagnose the problem, to analyze weak hooks, identify drop-off points, suggest emotional triggers, and optimize titles using tension and specificity. And with each iteration, his execution improved, until one video crossed 10,000 views. Not viral by global standards, but life-changing for someone who had never built anything before, because proof destroys doubt. By week 3, something deeper happened. Alex stopped using AI as a task assistant and started using it as a strategic mirror. Every night he typed, "Analyze my day and expose where I avoided discomfort," and the answers were uncomfortably precise, pointing out time wasted consuming instead of producing, highlighting energy misallocation, questioning whether he was prioritizing ego tasks over revenue tasks. And that daily feedback loop accelerated his self-awareness faster than years of passive reflection could have, because AI, when prompted correctly, can simulate perspective at scale, and perspective collapses blind spots. He then began using what he called leverage prompts, such as act as a $10 million founder and critique this plan, or identify the 20% of actions that will drive 80% of the growth in this project, or if this fails, what will be the most likely reason and how can I pre-solve it? And these prompts shifted him from reactive mode to proactive design, from guessing to modeling, from hoping to testing, and the compounding effect was dramatic, because when clarity improves, decisions improve, and when decisions improve, trajectory bends. After 30 days, the external results were measurable. His productivity had doubled, his content quality had increased, his small channel was gaining traction, he had outlined a digital product, automated repetitive workflows, and built a simple system for idea generation that fed itself. But the internal shift was even more significant. He no longer felt replaceable, Because he understood leverage, and leverage is the antidote to mediocrity. The truth is, AI is not powerful because it writes text or generates images. It is powerful because it compresses time between intention and execution. It reduces friction between idea and action. It allows one person to operate with the cognitive support of a team. And that changes the rules of competition because historically, scale required capital, employees, or infrastructure. But now, scale increasingly requires better prompts and clearer thinking. And that's why the people who treat AI like a calculator will get calculator-level results, while the people who treat it like a strategic partner will experience nonlinear outcomes. Consider the psychological advantage alone. Instead of spiraling and overthinking, you can ask AI to model worst-case scenarios rationally. Instead of procrastinating on overwhelming goals, you can force it to deconstruct them into 5 executable steps. Instead of guessing what skill to learn, you can request a 3-0-day accelerated curriculum customized to your schedule and constraints. Instead of fearing competition, you can simulate competitor strategies and identify whitespace opportunities. And each of these micro-optimizations compounds. Because progress is rarely explosive at first, it is iterative and quiet, like a plane slightly adjusting its angle and ending up in a completely different country. Many people fear that AI will eliminate jobs, but what's more likely is that AI will eliminate inefficiency, and those who cling to inefficiency will feel replaced, while those who integrate leverage will feel amplified, and the dividing line will not be intelligence or background but initiative, because tools amplify intent, and without intent they remain unused potential. One of the most transformative habits Alex developed was what he called identity prompts. Questions like, if I were already operating at my highest level, what would I stop tolerating? Or, what behaviors are inconsistent with the future version of me? And by consistently aligning actions with a higher standard, he rewired his daily patterns, not through motivation, but through design. Because once you see the gap between your current behavior and your potential, you cannot unsee it. Within months, his small experiments evolved into systems. His content became structured around tested psychological principles. His workflow included automated research pipelines, and his decision-making incorporated scenario modeling before risk exposure. And while he was not suddenly a billionaire, he was undeniably on a different trajectory, and trajectory is what truly matters. Because success is rarely a single breakthrough moment, but a sustained deviation from average compounded over time. The most dangerous misconception about AI is believing that access alone guarantees advantage. Because access is universal, but execution is selective, and execution depends on how deeply you engage with the tool, how honestly you allow it to critique you, how strategically you frame your prompts, and whether you use it to escape effort or to intensify it. Imagine 2 people with the same software, the same internet connection, the same 24 hours. One uses AI to generate random captions and save a few minutes. The other uses AI to audit strategy, optimize learning, design systems, simulate mentors, test assumptions, and accelerate iteration. And over a year, the divergence between those 2 people will look like talent, when in reality, it was leverage. If there is one lesson embedded in this story, it is that AI does not reward passive curiosity. It rewards structured experimentation. It rewards those willing to ask uncomfortable questions, to expose weaknesses, to iterate publicly, to treat feedback as fuel rather than insult. And this mindset shift is available to anyone willing to move from consumption to construction. The future will not belong to the loudest or the most naturally gifted, but to the most adaptive, the most system-oriented, the most leverage-focused individuals who understand that intelligence today is not about memorizing information, but orchestrating it, not about doing everything manually, but designing feedback loops that refine performance continuously. And the invitation is simple, but urgent. Stop asking AI for answers that make you comfortable, and start asking for insights that make you grow, because the real transformation does not happen when AI writes something impressive for you. It happens when AI challenges you to think beyond your default patterns, to question your assumptions, to test your limits, and to execute with clarity. And if you commit to using artificial intelligence not as entertainment, but as extension, not as distraction, but as design, not as shortcut, but as multiplier, then the next 30 days could alter your direction more than the last 3 years combined. And the most powerful realization of all is that the gap between who you are and who you could become may not require more time, more money, or more connections, but better questions asked consistently. Because in an era where knowledge is abundant and tools are accessible, the rarest resource is discipline, leverage, and those who learn to wield it intentionally will not just keep up with the future, they will quietly shape it.